Hi, everyone. Welcome to Youth Connections Café. We'd like to do a shout out to Youth for Change Canada for allowing us to be here on this platform. I'm your host, Lynne McIntee, and it's a pleasure to be here today. We have an amazing guest. We may have another one join us in this program. The topic that we're going to dive into is an inspiring topic. It's using creativity to make change through community connections. But first, again, I'd like to highlight Youth for Change Canada for allowing us to be here. We underscore youth and all that we do and supports in the community. We connect, we create, and we inspire. That's truly what it's all about. And we focus on maybe, 16-year-olds all the way to 29. And it is a pleasure to support our youth in the community. We try to bridge them with other people so they can learn and grow and be productive citizens in our society. So thank you again to Youth for Change. Give us a like, follow us on social media. We would love to hear from you. Once again, my name is Lynne McIntee, and the topic today is using creativity to make change through community connections. We have Jemma Chapman here today, and it is a pleasure. I know Jemma has an amazing bio. And I'd love to read a little bit about it, but she's going to tell us much more about that as we move through the program. And again, we may have another person, Mariella Larose, who joins us, and she is a musician in the community and may jump in. So excuse us if we just carry on while we wait for her to arrive. So Jemma Chapman, she's representing today Double Take Upcycling Studio, and it is connected to Yonge Street Mission, YSM. For many of you who are from the GTA may be familiar with the organization itself, but Double Take Upcycling Studio. She's here representing that, but again, her bio is quite extensive. So I think that's really important to highlight, and I know that she'll move us through that, walk us through her journey. She is an architect and artist who volunteers at Double Take Upcycling Studio. Her passion for sustainable design and ethical activism brought her to the studio itself when she relocated to Toronto at the start of this year, 2025. So Gemma's been with us in Canada a very short time. She has used the studio as a collaborative and creative outlet to create agency around climate, justice, and education. Welcome, Jemma.
Thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure. Would you like to add anything else to your bio as we move through the questions?
No, I think that's quite a rounded place to start. I think I trained as an architect and I came to Canada with the intention of working in architecture. And it's kind of led me to meet lots of different people and be involved in lots of different groups. But strangely, one of the biggest things when you decide to port your whole life thousands of miles away is the need to build community, which is obviously a very interesting link with the topic of this podcast episode. So I think that's kind of the catalyst for me ending up at YSM, and a lot of the spaces I found myself within Toronto is that want to find community and community that aligns with what I want to do and how I see the world and how we can make the world a better place.
Amazing things happening over there. It's really impressive what's going on. And we're happy that we have Jack here joining us as well. He's representing himself today, but he's been a guest speaker. So thank you, Jack, for joining us and being a part of this community conversation, because that truly is what Youth for Change is all about, is connecting, creating, and inspiring, and making those connections, as Gemma had said also. Thank you so much, Gemma. Amazing. So our first question actually for you, the architecture and design often feel technical, but you bring creativity and ethics into the mix. What sparked your passion for sustainable and ethical design?
I grew up with parents who were made me very aware of the planet and kind of the fact that as people, we are custodians of it. And as I went through my architectural practice, it became more and more apparent that my own advocacy in my personal life had to blend into my professional one. I couldn't just port it at the door and kind of do what I wanted. And a very large percentage of the CO2 emissions that are emitted in the world are to do with the built environment. So it naturally led me to try and find ways to combat that, and kind of the importance of that. But a big part of that, as with any part of the built world, in my opinion, is the need to include people in that conversation. A lot of architecture, as you said, is very technical. A lot of people think that it's all about measurements and all about specification. And yes, that's the role we play as architects in it, but another role we play is enabling normal people, the public, the users of buildings, to understand the importance of them, understand how to maintain them, look after them, but also understand how to advocate as a normal person for a better built world. which, the way we get leverage as architects is to educate and to include people in that conversation through community and all kinds of different mechanisms. But that really is the importance, I feel, as a custodian of the built environment, is the importance of being able to give people the literary skills to feel included in that conversation.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that at the onset. That truly is what we represent at Youth for Change Canada. All of the guest speakers that we have, we underscore what you're talking about. So thank you very much, Gemma, for highlighting that at the top, right at the top. We appreciate it very much. So then you mentioned your parents before I even, we can go off script and just be free flow as well. But you mentioned your parents. When did you start to notice your desire? To pay attention, I guess, to what's going on around your surroundings, and maybe want to take on some of this in your advocacy.
I think I spent a lot of my childhood kind of we were the family that cycled everywhere, and we were the family that, my parents were mad into recycling and kind of just being very treading through the world lightly. And I kind of, for a long time, for most of my childhood, I knew that we had to do right by the planet, and I would feel very empathetically and very emotively about that. And then when I moved to London when I was 18 to start studying, and I suddenly had this realization just how much waste there was in the world. And that was kind of a personal level of like, I realized everything I put in the bin went somewhere. And that was overwhelming. I like didn't sleep for a week because all I could think about was all this rubbish.
Yeah.
And so I started to look at how to cut down my waste and live more zero waste within my home life. And I went through a very long process of finding ways to get reusable things and go through that kind of process to find places to donate things, to reuse things, how to mend things. And I did that for about 3 years. And then I suddenly, when I was doing my master's, had this epiphany that, hang on, my industry is a massive part of waste and carbon. So that's how it kind of then shifted to be not just a personal desire, but a professional one. But yeah, just basically my parents, my dad used to subscribe to a magazine that's for the Centre of Alternative Technologies in the UK. And I remember him showing me articles about, wind farms and hemp wools and all these other things. And I think between him and my mum, who is very creative, they both kind of showed me this kind of alternative way of living, which really should be a way we all choose to move through the world, I think.
That's amazing. So shout out to your parents, Gemma, for yes, guiding you on your path on this journey. And it sounds like a long one. You started school when you were 18, and you've been in school about a 10-year period.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
a long, long process.
I was thinking that's important for our young folks to hear that. If you have time to share a little bit about that. And
Yeah, so architecture is a very long and slow burn. But I think if you're passionate about it and you're passionate about either buildings or making change or being involved in the built world, then it's a path you can take. Um, it's slightly different in Canada to the UK, but it does take a similar amount of time. A lot of the focus in Canada is about work in practice and getting the hours in practice, whereas the UK we have a much longer educational stint and then you go into practice. But between study, it's probably about 5 to 6 years of study, and then similar, if not slightly less, in working in education and in practice. So. Yeah, it's a long one, and I think a lot of people end up finding the place they're meant to be before they fully qualify. I know a lot of people who don't have the title but basically do the job. I wanted the title. I think the little dyslexic girl in me wanted to be able to say I'd actually achieved it. Um, but it's weirdly led me to a place where I'm less fussed about actually doing the building, like the designing of buildings, and actually being part of the bigger conversation around the purpose of our built environment and making sure it's accessible and sustainable. So yeah, I think if you'd have asked me at 18, I wanted to point at a building and say I've designed that. And now I'm more interested in pointing at a building and being like, I help people enjoy that building in a way that was kind to the planet.
that's cool. Thank you so much for that. That's amazing. That's an amazing way to look at it. And to never know where your journey will take you. It can be ever changing. Mhm. That's very cool. Jack, do you have any questions at this point for Gemma?
When did you start school out there in London?
I started school when I was 18, like architecture school when I was 18, which is probably just shy of 10 years ago now. I think it was like 2015 was when I started, and I
Mhm.
did a 3-year undergraduate degree. And I actually did a degree that was a hybrid interiors and architecture degree because at 18 I didn't think I could do the whole 8 to 10 years. So I thought, well, if I do a hybrid, I could go into interiors, or if I was feeling prepared, I could carry on with architecture. So I did a combined course. Um, and then kind of got to the end of it and thought, yeah, let's what's another 4 years of work and study? So
That's good. Jack, is that good?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's very, very interesting. And then the fact that you are diversifying is so cool. And would you say that more people are starting to realize that that's a possibility and probably the way to go?
I definitely think that is happening. The last 2 years I've taught in education as well. I did my master's, and I was asked to go and teach on the sustainability side of the course that was involved in. And I definitely think there is a shift. A lot of young people are coming in now and saying like, "Hey, why are we not doing things more sustainably, more ethically? Like, what is our role?" Like, I think there's a lot more people at the bottom pushing change, which is brilliant. But unfortunately, we need the people at the top to to get on board with that, which change is happening. I feel positive about it. I've seen a lot of change in the 10 years I've been in my industry, but I do think again community plays a massive role in this and getting agency from not from the average person to facilitate us to be able to build more sustainably is a really great tool in being able to make that change.
Hmm. Something that's coming to mind is this is separate from food waste actually. In certain, I guess in France actually, you're not able to waste your food. You're supposed to make it available to repurposing it, right? And more that's starting to become apparent here in Canada, and how advanced in the thinking, right, and how important that is that we need to be constantly shifting and changing and looking at ways to revise. Could you speak to that maybe I know you're in Canada now, but could you speak to that maybe in the communities of London, perhaps even just something like food waste or clothing waste or,
I
how's it?
think there's definitely attributes like that. I can talk to it in terms of architecture within the UK. There is a very large movement called ACAN, which stands for Architecture Climate Action Network.
Yeah.
And that's like I mean, it's become global, but it started as a nationwide platform to try and lobby for changes in policy within government so we could build more sustainably. And that very much takes a presence online and through kind of online chats on WhatsApp and things like that. And they do have in place meetings, but to get the volume of people behind that, they do an amazing job of talking about it online and kind of writing open letters to government. But I know that in most major cities in the UK, there are really wonderful groups looking at kind of either circularized networks in terms of reuse of materials, whether that's building materials or clothing, or reducing the waste of food and making sure that if it can't be sold, it can go and be used somewhere else, etc. There's some really great organizations doing that. Kind of everywhere because I think people are waking up to it. But I definitely see it happening in Toronto as well. Since I've moved here, I've sought out organizations doing that, such as the Double Take Upcycling Studio. But there's plenty of other organizations actively looking at how we progress to this kind of next chapter of functioning as a society, I guess.
Mhm. And underscoring progress. So
I just sent you something on your phone. You should watch it.
on
Okay,
my
thank
phone? Yeah.
Yeah, I sent it to you.
Okay. And is it something I should watch and I can share with Gemma after?
Yeah, you can show it on here actually.
Ah, would you mind if we kind of saved it? Or do
Yeah,
you?
because
Yeah.
it's a video that people can watch in wheelchairs,
Okay. Yeah.
and there's a lot of.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to navigate in to a couple of different things, but I will definitely see if we can circle back on that, Jack, for sure. I do appreciate it. So I'm just allowing Mariella into the space at this moment, but I don't want to forget about that, Jack, for sure. Okay, so remind me. Hi, Mariella. Hi.
Hello.
Hello, thank you for coming. We really appreciate it.
Yes, yes, for sure.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. So do I catch your breath?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, of course, for sure. And so you're on your phone, is that right?
Yes, I'm on my phone.
Oh, okay, and there's no chance for a laptop, eh?
No, I don't think so. I'm so
Okay,
sorry. Here, I will flip the.
could you?
Let me see. Does that work better?
Yeah, that would be amazing, Mariella. Thank you so much. Thank you.
No worries. No worries.
So yeah, we're just we'll carry on, and we'll include you, give you a chance to kind of catch your breath. I know you've had a busy day.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
Jemma has walked us through the conversation on what she does, and you're familiar with her with the title that we used on the poster, but her background is quite extensive as well too, and I think that's really key for us to share today and honor Jemma for all the work that's brought her here to the table today. So that's really important. Jack has been with us before as a guest speaker himself, and he's here sitting in on the conversation. So. Um, we'll just kind of go back and forth. And he shared a link with us. Perhaps maybe at the end we can try to incorporate that because he was kind enough to share. So we're just trying to figure it out here as we're welcoming you to the space. All right. So Jemma, I think I'll give Mariella just another moment here.
Mhm.
And I wonder if I could perhaps pose the question to you. And thank you for just being so chill and relaxed. We really appreciate it. Um, so how do you define creativity in your work? And how does that definition influence the way you approach community impact? You've kind of spoken to that to some
Mhm.
degree, but I wonder if we can pull that in while Mariella's arriving and maybe speak to that a little bit more.
Yeah. I think creativity often I think people have this perception that creativity has to be an art practice, and I actually think creativity is a state of mind. It's a way of thinking about things that it doesn't conform to a standardized way of being. And I am dyslexic and ADHD, so my brain does not work like most people's. And yes, I would say I am an artistic person, but I think there are people who have creative skill sets who use them to critically think about policy or think about how to lay things out or how to manage processes. And creativity really is about that ability to think about doing things in a way that they haven't been done before or that maybe isn't the standard way of doing things. And I think using that skill, whether that is to visually create something beautiful or to create a system that works really well, is an excellent attribute to have as a person. But then to bring that to the table, I think within community, I think it's really important to think about creativity in that way. Because if you just say creativity is art or pretty pictures, it excludes and discourages the value of people who maybe don't see themselves as creatively artistic. But actually, a lot of people have amazing skills in such rogue and varying areas, and that's what's so wonderful about community is everybody brings different things to the table and everybody thinks about things in a different way. So I think creativity is an excellent word and it is a massive catalyst for a lot of people to have agency and be unique and different and help develop and evolve the world. But I think it's important to acknowledge that that can take its form in many ways, and within a community, it's really important to include all of them.
Hmm. Beautiful. No, thank you so much for that. I don't know, Mariella, did you want to ask a question before we introduce her? Are you okay right now? Or
No, I'm pretty sure I'm good.
okay, for
I'm
sure.
sorry. What's your this?
Pardon me?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's all good. Yeah. So it's interesting, Gemma, thank you for saying that because coming from the education field myself as well, we really want to recognize everyone at the table and all the uniqueness that we have, but the shared experiences that we can create together and how very important that is to honor each other, to do you and nobody else can do it better, right? So that's the beauty of that. So thank you for highlighting that, and especially for our youth that listen and tune in and maybe just question where they're going and maybe what they want to do and maybe they think they're into art, but they don't really know how to define it or whichever. We all have our moments of questioning, right? So thank you. As a community member, we really appreciate you highlighting that for us. I want to welcome Mariella Larose to the space. It's a
Hello.
pleasure. Thank you so much, Mariella, for joining us.
Yes, yeah, sure. Thank you
We've
for
had
having me.
Thank you. And we've had great experiences with Mariella before with other endeavors we've done in the community. And I thought she would be a great contribution to the conversation and as a representative of youth, but also the community. So you've got lots going
Mhm.
on, Mariella. And I'll just do a little bit of an intro on you, and then maybe we can ask you a couple of questions and kind of jump back
Yeah,
and
yeah,
forth.
for sure.
Thank you for being also very chill. Appreciate that.
It's no worries.
So Mariella is a proudly Canadian singer-songwriter from Toronto, and she has amazing singing chops. She really does. And
Thank
she
you.
is, oh, you do, and you're so talented. And
Oh,
the
thank
beauty,
you.
oh, of course, of course. And Mariella, you're humble, and I think that that's really, I think we're all here at the table. Yes, we're being humble, but we all know that you've got a lot of talent, and Jemma has a lot of
Thank
talent. Jack has a lot of talent, but
you.
thank you for keeping that humble as well, too.
Yeah, of course.
She is in a rock band. She created a rock band called Complex, and she's recorded some songs, but she's into musical theater and she's done some off-Broadway shows. She can speak more about that herself. She's attending the Etobicoke School of Arts. She is a proud participant in choir and cast in the lead role of the spring production of Mamma Mia. Her dream is to one day be a professional recording artist and star on Broadway.
Mhm.
Welcome to the table.
Hello, hi.
Thank you so much, Marielle. I really
Yes, of
appreciate it.
course. Of course, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yeah, no, it's great. And Jemma's a wonderful person. So I think we'll make these connections and carry on our
Mhm.
connections in the community.
Sure, yeah.
So the question that I had for Jemma was about architecture. She's representing Double Take Cycling Studio, but she's also an architect as well and has many other skills. But
Mhm.
Marielle, I wonder if you could music is a universal language, and
Mhm.
what first inspired you to use music in a way to connect with others and create change in community?
Yeah, so when I was younger, I had just done a performance for like in when I was like 6 and I was performing. Um, I had realized like really how much I could connect with the audience in front of me. And it really like inspired me to connect more with them, to learn how to connect more. I wanted to continue being on stage. I wanted to continue to learn how to connect with them. Yeah.
And when you were younger, you don't have to say your age right now, but when you were younger, did you find that spark was there, or was it something that was, yeah, you did. Oh.
Yeah, definitely. Ever since I was like 2, I've wanted to sing. I would used to do like mock concerts where I would like sing and then I would make like the audience cheer for me and stuff.
Oh my,
Yeah, I've just always felt on at home on stage and stuff. Yeah.
amazing. So using creativity to make connection for sure. And art
Mhm.
comes in many forms as we've been discussing today.
Yes.
Gemma, I don't know if you've ever done that lip syncing. I think many of us did growing up, so and still do. Uh, thank you, Mariella. Any
Yeah,
question
of
for
course.
Mariella right now?
I'm
Mm,
sorry.
Is there any question for Mariella as she's jumping into this space with us right now? Anybody? Nope, you're okay. Carry on. Okay. And then I'm going to go right into you again, Mariella, and then we'll jump around in conversation. How do you
Mhm.
define creativity in your work? And how does that definition influence your impact on community? So looking at it through school, collaboration through musical theater,
Mhm.
whether it be with your band, whether it be you as an individual musician, as you said, connecting with other people. Um,
Mhm.
well,
Well, find that like music just kind of unifies people. I find that like music is a pretty creative art, and I kind of define it in hmm.
and it's a very personal answer, really. It's
Yeah, it is. It is.
yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I
Mhm.
think that I just like to express myself through music. I like to That's how I kind of define it. I find it like I like to express myself a lot and like through writing music. And yeah, like through connecting communities, I'd like if I sing song in Spanish and like I feel like it connects like groups of people, cultures and stuff. If I'm like at like a Spanish gig, let's say, and I sing a song and everyone's gonna understand it, you know what I mean? Even if they don't like understand the words, they still understand like the community feeling, you know what I mean?
I totally do. Yeah, for sure. Thank you for keeping it chill.
Of course.
Appreciate that. And there's no right or wrong answer here. It's very individual because it's very personal. And then myself, being an artist as well and
Hmm.
performing and acting. So I appreciate it. And I humbly mention that only because I know that sometimes as we go through this process, we question ourselves, which is a good thing, really.
Mhm.
Never taking anything for granted, but always evolving and growing. But I think the collaboration is key. And I think whether that be a teacher that you've connected with, a family member who supported you, an audience member who is just needing that lift,
Hmm.
I think all of those things, those dots get connected. And what an amazing feeling that is, to know that you are not only empowering yourself, but you're empowering community. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I love when people come up to me and they tell me that like my performance meant a lot to them. Like, that just makes me feel so awesome. I love that feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you then, we'll move on to some other ones, but could you then speak to, let's just say, collaboration in a theater production, and how key that is to recognize everybody who comes to the table?
Oh, yeah, yeah, for sure. I feel like everyone in a theater production is makes it, even like non-named characters, they're like the backbone of the musical. And so I feel like it's really, really essential to recognize that everyone has a role and that everyone is important. And, if you recognize that correctly, then you put on a great show because you've connected with everyone, and then the connections in the show don't really feel so artificial because it's a real connection.
Hmm. And you can, there's a lot of backstage meltdowns that can go on too.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can get
Yeah,
it,
you
right?
know, it's yeah, yeah, but it's about like, being able to work each other out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a lot of experience with helping people out of those meltdowns, and, people helping me out of those meltdowns. It really like feels like a family, feels like a community, you know what I mean?
Wow. But no, I thank you, Mariella. I'm going to skip over to then Gemma. How important is that to you when you're in the work that you're doing to have that? We were talking earlier at Mariella, community and connection. And so kind of is very similar to what Mariella is saying.
Definitely, for sure. I think in what I do, there's kind of almost a three-prong approach to it. So I guess the way to compare it is within performing, you have yourself, the people you perform with, and the audience. I
Hmm.
have the people who use my buildings, me who designs the building, but then all the other consultants who facilitate what I design being built. So, but it's equally important for all of those people to be involved and to be involved throughout that process and not just in cyclical positions within the kind of confinements. It's I think is important for people who go and view shows to be aware of the work that's gone into them. That's why you have kind of contents and things like that, is people feel more attached and interested in it as part of a story if they understand the work that's gone into it. And it's the same with buildings. The people who come and use it at the end, come and see the end show, should be aware of all the work that's gone in up to that point, because it's the only way you can get people to feel impassioned and see the value and the weight of the work that you're doing.
Nice. No, that's great. And that kind of speaking to what you were sharing with us, that link, Jack, that we hopefully we get to about accessibility and how important that is in all aspects of the work that we do. What Emma's referring to, accessibility in theater and architecture and all parts of our community. So that's really what our goal is, and there's never a finish to that. It's ongoing and ever evolving and ever growing. So thank you a lot for that, Gemma and Mariella. All right. So Jack, do you have any questions at this point?
No,
Keep going, Mariella. Gemma, keep going. Keep flying here. Okay. I think I'm gonna jump over a couple. So let's go back to okay, let's go to, I know we'll talk about Double Take Upcycling Studios shortly, Gemma, but I do want to really highlight you as well and what you're bringing to the table. And I think that's key because that truly has contributed to the GTA community as well since you've arrived here. For Mariella, Gemma's been here since February from England, and she's now
Mm.
made GTA her home. So,
Oh, wow, that's so fun.
right? Yeah. It is. It is. So we all come from places, and it's amazing who comes to the table. So thank you for that.
Yeah, of course. Welcome.
Thank you.
Of course.
All right. So whoever wants to take it, I'll just put it out there. Can you share a moment when your creative work directly led to positive change? And whoever wants to take it, and whether it be present day, previous.
I actually think I can say that I would attribute this to a lot of the work that I've done at the Double Take Upcycling Studio, in terms of I found this space for for some context, Double Take is a thrift store in Cabbagetown, and within that thrift store, they have an upcycling studio, which is this wonderful space where people come and volunteer their time and make things. And they make clothes and items and garments out of waste textiles, or that we rework items. And the idea is we make things and use our creativity to come up with ideas, and we collaborate and problem solve, and we then make things that are sold for the charity and aim to raise a bit more money than if items were just to be sold in the thrift store. But what's really brilliant about this community is I go there and I'm a 28-year-old and I go and hang out with an 80-year-old lady who I love, who's like such a kind soul, but it's such an interesting thing to have a sense of community with people who aren't your immediate kinship in your day-to-day life. And the insight that these different ages, different backgrounds provide in how to troubleshoot things, how to find solutions, and just general opinions and experiences of the world is so valuable. I kind of had one of the ladies come up to me the other day, and at the moment we're trying to take men's blazer jackets, which kind of are really going out of fashion, and making them into kind of tailored waistcoats for women. So taking the arms off, but then obviously men are a different build to women, so we're having to shape the bodies of the actual waistcoats. And I did a test one last week, and one of the ladies came up to me and she said, "Oh, I've got to do one and I'm really scared and I don't want to mess it up." And I just said to her, I said, "Karma, it doesn't matter. If it goes wrong, we'll just use the material for something else." And she was like, "You're right. That's a really good way of looking at it." But it's that different perception, that different approach that then allows and enables each of us to keep evolving and growing. And I think that's a very clear idea of what community is and how it can enable change.
Wonderful. Any questions for Jemma at this point? No? Okay, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. And shout out to Double Take Upcycling Studio as well for that safe space to collaborate. And that's what we're always looking for. So thank you for that. And we'll make sure that we get a chance to shout out social media as well so people can follow. And Marielle, you got to pop in. I haven't yet, but I'm going to. I actually can't wait. They're doing amazing work over there. And the products, you can check them out online, and the products are really fantastic. Fantastic. So thank you for that. Very cool. And then Mariella yourself, and as far as making positive change in the community, we've talked about it sort of generally speaking, but yeah, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to share in terms of your band or yourself personally.
Yeah. Well, I think um in terms of making positive change in the community, that is what I meant earlier when I said that like when I go to perform at a gig and I will see like people like unify through the music that I'm singing. Um, like I love that feeling. I love seeing that. I perform at a lot of different diversity gigs and I'll sing a lot of different languages. Like my mom is half Spanish and so I'll sing a lot of songs in Spanish and I like to see the reaction. I like to see how it brings people together, brings the communities together. And I don't know if this is it's not really singing related, but when I was when I was younger, I had seen that like crayons, like markers, like Crayola markers, they would dry out really easily because people wouldn't put the caps on them. And so then I was like, oh, I'm sure there's a different way we can like use this instead of just like throwing them out. And so then I had like researched what like because I brought it to my teacher, like brought it to my teacher's attention. And so then I think as a class had researched like what to do with them. And then we found out that Crayola like recycles them. And so yeah, that was really cool. And then yeah.
No, that's great, and that's amazing, and especially it starts very young. It's starting to start very young now because people are understanding that process, and that's sort of what Gemma was saying earlier. That people are getting on board with a lot of these things, but you were already on board with that early on.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. That's to have the foresight to see that. That's really cool. Thank you.
Yeah, of
Really,
course, of course.
really appreciate that. All right, so I'm going to keep moving along a little bit. And Jemma, so with your work with the Double Take Upcycling Studio, focusing using bringing to life old materials, and you're connecting with the broader vision of sustainability and community creativity. For someone who wants to understand how important this studio is, beyond beyond the people, but more or less, could you speak to that?
For sure. I think the thing with the upcycling studios, it is a visual node to a much larger problem. It's kind of a way of addressing, hey, we have this massive problem and it stems in lots of areas of the world, but we focus on textile waste specifically within this location. But it acts as a way to show people like we currently have a mechanism where when we're done with something, it goes in the bin. And that mechanism doesn't work. And this is an alternative way of dealing with these things. It's to reuse them, to repurpose them, to realize they still have value, just not in their current form. And so I think it's a very immediate way to show people that maybe we need to start thinking about how we function as a society in a different way. And that's one of the lovely things. One of the core things we make all the time is we make reusable cloths for cleaning your counters, kitchen cloths, and they're made from either old shirts or old bed linen and old towels that people no longer want to use, or they have holes in and can't be used. So we cut them up and make them use, and they're a visual aid that people use every single day to
Hmm.
remember that maybe instead of throwing something in the bin, instead of a single-use product, because nothing really is a single-use product,
Mhm.
we've just coined that phrase, and actually they symbolize something beyond what they are. And that's really what the studio is about. It's about beyond the creativity, beyond the community. It's about providing people with an understanding and an agency around how we perceive the way we currently function and the way we throw things away. And that's kind of the crux of it really. And Sharon, who kind of is the creator of the upcycling studio, that's one of the core things is every time we make things, every time we do things and we present what we do to the world, it's about being able to reiterate the fact that, hey, this isn't a brand new item. This has come from something else, and that needs to kind of be the norm, rather than just getting something new all the time. And actually, secondhand things, personal things, one-off things are far more joyful for the person making them, for the person selling them, for the person using them, than just going to a shop and buying something that's made God knows where by who knows who, you know?
Oh, very nice. Thank you. Questions at all? No, you're moving along. Okay. So we're kind of going back to the way it used to be, actually, when we had to reuse those resources to the last drop or the last bit, the last spool. So it's interesting how we're moving back into that direction. Amazing. That's very, very cool. Okay. So then let me see. Mariella, you ready for a question?
For sure.
Okay, let's see what have you learned from collaborating with others?
I learned to kind of shift my perspective from being like, oh, like just me to being able to work in a group with of people.
Mhm.
It makes it a lot, I don't know, it makes it yeah, I've been able to work with people easier by um like been able to work with people easier by rewiring my brain to be able to work
Oh,
with people, you know what I mean?
I think all of us can appreciate that, Jack, Gemma, myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about that. It's
Yeah, it's
rewiring the
about
brain.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's about like kind of like taking like being able to like kind of feed off of the ideas of everyone's, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I know, I'm so sorry.
No, you're lovely. Thank you. You're doing wonderfully. So thank you so much for that. You're just being natural. So that's what we appreciate here. And I can see Gemma smiling and she's nodding, and I'm certainly on the same wavelength as you, and I know Jack is as well too. And it's getting comfortable with letting go of the process of collaborating. right? And it's we learn it at different times in our lives, and sometimes in adulthood, not people are still learning that, and they haven't learned that
Mhm.
quite yet, and that's okay too. But it's what a wonderful thing it is, and what a wonderful feel for
Yeah.
you, and kind of a excitement that you get when you are feeding off that energy of other people, and they're feeding off the energy from you as we
Mhm.
are here right
Yeah.
now. So thank
Yeah,
you.
like I'm so sorry. Whenever I like work in singing, like when I was younger, I had to sing in a competition with like a group of people and then like a duo, like sing with one other person, and then that really taught me how to like feed off of their energy, be able to like work with them. You know what I mean?
Totally, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because sometimes you can be in a space with someone, feed off their energy, and there's no words spoken, right? It's
Yeah.
just that ability to let go with each other, and sometimes you don't need the words, right? So that's
Mhm.
very cool when that happens as well. I know you had a function just last weekend. I wondered if you could speak to that. It was collaboration with a choir.
Oh yeah,
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 can you
TSO,
speak to that?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. TSO, it was really, really fun to be able to be at the TSO and sing with the live orchestra. But in terms of collaboration, it takes a lot to be able to sound like one voice. Um, to sound like one voice as like what, like 30 people in one vocal part. It takes a lot of coordination, it takes a lot of practice, and yeah, it was it was really fun. It takes a lot of coordination, and I'm really happy that we were able to like pull it together. You know what I mean?
That's amazing. And for those that don't know, the TSO is.
Oh, the Toronto Symphony Orchestra.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so if
Mm.
you haven't seen the Toronto Symphony Orchestra, I highly recommend going out to see them. And they do
It's
amazing
really nice.
collaborations as well. And
Mhm.
what a vibe that is when you've got that many
Yes.
people together, right?
Yes, exactly. It's like it's so exhilarating, honestly. It's so great. Like I love performing like that, honestly.
Yeah, me too. And it speaks to the intergenerational thing that we're talking about, is Gemma's talking about in the work that she does. It really is, if you're opening yourself up to that, it's anywhere from birth to north of 100. We're
Mhm.
still, we want to include everybody and to experience those the ride, because that's why we're here, right? Is to
Yeah.
engage, connect, and create, right? Super cool. And that takes a maturity level, in my
Mhm.
opinion, Mariella. I don't know if others feel the same, but I do think that that takes a maturity level to step outside yourself and allow that process to happen. So,
Yeah. Mhm.
and again, we learn it at different times in our lives. So good for you for learning that early on.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah, that allows you to open up other doors, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, cool. We have them until about 8:35. Is that correct? Yes, yes, and that's is that okay? Yeah, so we'll just kind of move along with the questions. I'd love to have you guys longer. We could do a whole weekend. I know we could very easily. And the connections are very different, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to include that today. Yes, you're an artist, yes, you're a musician, yes, you're a performer, but also Jemma is and as well, in all of the
Mhm.
work that she's doing. She's having to produce and to commit and produce and have output in her work, and it's quite extensive. So the fact that you're in the GTA now, you're working with Upcycling Studio, although you have this other amazing bio, you're making amazing community connections. I wonder then if you could speak to how important that is to the Young Street mission, to have that partnership.
It's so important to the work they do. I mean, the crux of what Young Street Mission do is to end poverty within a generation. And to facilitate that for the people they support is completely down to community, whether it's volunteer community, whether it's other organizations, kind of linking with them. It is about that collaboration. And you need to have community to achieve that. You need to have people with a common goal, with common interests. And it's kind of mechanisms and systems like that facilitate the work that I do in terms of sustainability, in terms of training people to think in a different way, to be open to people functioning in a different way. And it's vital, really. I think any good endeavor, any kind of social goal that's of a positive nature is nothing without community. It's nothing without the consideration of others. Even just the idea that actually, maybe I should help this other person to achieve something or end something or be something. It comes from a consideration outside of you and your immediate known experience. So it really is the crux of all good things, in my opinion. And I definitely think that having moved somewhere where I didn't have family and I didn't have community, and having to build that and find the people that resonate with me, it's shown me even more the importance of it, but also the power of it. The power of a shared belief and a shared want and a shared mission, be that through singing, be that through advocacy, be that through, you know, sitting and sewing together one day a week. I think there's so much power. And it not only is agency in the immediate of what you are doing in that shared space, but the amount of conversations I have with people that aren't specifically to do with, saving the planet, that are to do with how are you feeling about this? How about you go and eat here? How about, oh, I know of this organization or this place you'd really like. And you build and build and build this network and this life, and it's all through community and the conversations you have in community space.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much. And Marielle, as far as in what you are doing with your abilities right now in terms of musical theater, you're acting as well. All right. So you're getting a little bit of opportunity to try different things.
Mm-hmm.
And can you speak to that in correlation to what Jemma was saying? Like just, where it's taking other people, where you see it taking other people when you're getting those collaborations. Can you think of a time where there was somebody that they were just really uplifted by that experience, but they maybe came into it and maybe with a closed thought on it, but by having that experience with you and or others around you,
Mm-hmm.
that allowed them to kind of go on and do other things.
Um, hmm. Sorry. I've seen a lot of people that I know come into their own with acting. Like, it's very obvious that that's what they want to do, that. I'm so sorry.
No, it's good. What about yourself and acting?
Oh,
When
yep.
yeah.
I yeah, I definitely I just whenever I act that I kind of I definitely whenever I act I kind of like transform myself into the person I'm acting as. I make sure that like I try to put myself in their mindset as best as possible, so that
Mhm.
I can fully portray that character, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And as for I don't know, uplifting people. I have a few friends who feel like, they can't sing, or they feel like, I'm not that well versed in singing and such. And so I'll like help them to at least find that confidence, because majority of the time it's not that they can't sing, it's just that they can't, like, they don't think of themselves as singers. They think of themselves as maybe dancers first, or, musicians first. And so I'll say, like, you can sing. And so I'll help them to find that confidence, and help them to be able to sing through
Mhm.
their confidence, of course.
Mhm. Yeah, no, for sure. Thank you, Mary Ellen. And you're just
Mhm,
figuring
of
it all
course.
out as you go. And sorry, I think somebody said something. No, you're just figuring it all out as you go. So thank you for allowing
Mhm,
us to kind of go off in different directions with the collaborative efforts and community and how important that is.
mhm,
I truly think the work that Jemma is doing is very keen, very valuable. And what's going on at Double Take Upcycling Studio is so very necessary. We've had the opportunity to interview many guest speakers who are really thinking the same things as yourself, Mariella, as Jemma. Um, Recognize everybody, see everyone in the room. It's the only way to go. We can't be a community. There's no unity in community if it's not inclusive. That
mhm,
speaks to the work that Gemma's doing. It speaks to the work that you're doing in theater and in
mhm,
performing. Recognizing that there is a space for all. We have about maybe 5, 10 more minutes maximum. And I wondered if I
mhm.
could maybe then just jump over to if you could design one project, Gemma, this is for you, a building or initiative that would make a lasting impact on the community. Can you think of something that you could
I
share?
actually, it's strange. It's not ever really a building for me anymore. It probably, if you spoke to me 5 years ago, it would have been some crazy building that facilitates something. But the thing I actually think would be really valuable is a online platform to highlight sustainable endeavors, businesses, organizations, communities. So people can find their tribe, people can find their
Yeah.
community that are moving towards a more sustainable, more circularized way of living. And
Mhm.
so I know this is something that is definitely being developed in places.
Mhm.
But the ability, I so often hear people like, "Oh, it'd be really great if I could do this or get rid of this a certain way." And it's kind of like, well, that thing does exist, but you just don't know about it. And I think it would be amazing for a platform to be developed to highlight these things for people so people could just bash in, commute place where I can learn to mend my clothes, and you could get a list of places to go, places I could donate this, or I could learn this, or I could see this. And it would allow people to have the connections they need to move forward, to have that collaboration and that community. So I think there's enough spaces exist in the world to facilitate those happening in various different ways. And it's more about providing people with the right access to get to them so the voices are heard, the diversity is in the room, and everybody can be included in it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's really cool.
That is, yeah, for sure. What about yourself, Mariella?
Um, I would probably see it as maybe an album that kind of brings the community together, and kind of highlights the good in the world because there's so much negativity that's in the world. And I don't know, I feel like you need kind of like a light in all the darkness, you know?
Yeah, no, that's beautiful too. Yeah, for sure. No,
Mm,
that's, I think, again, we all need that. It's ever changing. So, to know that we can count on that light is
yeah.
that's amazing. Gemma and Mariella and Jack, we had the former Lieutenant Governor David Onley on before. He's since passed away, but his life work was on accessibility. So
Mm,
his work in politics was really that, to see changes in how buildings are designed and what's available to people should they want to be, let's say, a journalist or whichever, and maybe they have some, challenges along the way. But it's interesting to see how that it's that was new when he was bringing that in. He was one of the first reporters actually who had a physical disability, and he really wanted to make change, and he did. He brought change to the government, but in the same sense, it's still needs a lot more. Um,
mm,
and that's why we're all here today, is to make change. Jack, and the work that you're doing through community living, very important and necessary, to educate all of us and what we all need to do to move our society forward. So I wondered then, we have 5 more minutes. I wondered then if you have just something you'd like to share about you and maybe your band, Mariella. I
oh,
mean, yeah, I think why not? This is
yeah.
yeah. So you're a singer, yes, but you
Mhm.
have a band, so complex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I play with a bunch of people that I really like, and I came up with the name. It's really fun, and our genre that we like to play often is rock. Um, but we also kind of based off of the gig. Like for example, we played a Christmas gig at uh sorry, my school, sorry, for a holiday market. We played a Christmas gig, and it was mostly jazz. It was kind of like jazz, and then there was like a touch of rock songs in there, but like for the most part it was mostly jazz. And I like to explore that kind of I like to explore like different kinds of genres in when I sing like by myself. So it was really fun to explore a different genre with my band.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cool. And then, Gemma, what kind of music do you like?
I like everything.
Me
My
too.
Spotify Wrapped was all over the place this year. But I actually grew up playing musical instruments, so I love
Oh,
classical
that's
music.
it.
I love jazz. I'm a trained jazz singer, but not I
Oh, that's so
don't sing
fun.
publicly in a long time.
Doesn't
Um,
matter. It's still fun.
so yeah.
Oh my
But
goodness.
yeah, just a bit of everything.
That's
Mm,
cool.
so
And
cool.
that adds to the work that you're doing currently, right? Just to make you a well-rounded individual. And Jack, what about yourself? Do you do any caroling at all? Any singing?
No.
Just for fun, do you ever play any drums or spoons?
No.
No, not necessary, but we can enjoy it, right? As
Mhm.
well. But that's interesting that you're sharing that, Gemma. Do you think that that's contributed to your work and how you approach things?
I definitely think it showed me from a young age the importance of collaboration and community, and that moving is one, that awareness of people outside of your initial, when you're looking at sheet music, you have to be so aware of everybody else without even looking at them, and
Mhm.
you have that connection of the conductor. But I definitely think it's made me acutely aware of other people, and actually like what I am immediately doing affects everybody else. And there's ways to pick them up and put them in. And that's, in life generally, I try and walk through life with an awareness and empathy for others. And I think some of that stems from my upbringing, some of it stems from being involved in music, and then more recently, a lot of it stems from how I perceive the built world and the what needs to change about it, really.
Amazing. Well, Mariella and Jackie, you have to pop into the Uptake cycling studio,
Of
Uptake cycling
course.
studio, and Mariella, I think we should invite Gemma to maybe perform at one of our festivals.
For sure. What instruments do you play? Well, we'll we'll incorporate
I
them.
have I have none of them with me. I play all the big brass ones. I've
Oh,
left them
that's
all at
so
home,
fun.
but
That's
yeah, I
so
used to play the euphonium. That's the main
that's
thing.
so
I'm
cool.
probably the best at, but I haven't played or sung like publicly in a really long time because studying architecture takes up a lot of your time.
Yeah, I can
But
imagine.
I'm
Yes.
definitely happy to come and see some other people perform. I love live music.
Well,
Yeah,
look forward to
the
that.
studio, the upcycling studio, that sounds really cool. I might
Yeah,
go.
it's really, really. You should come and get some outfits for when you perform.
Yeah, I
For
will.
sure. Oh, that's so cool. I love the connection. Thank you for that. And I hopefully we can kind of keep the connection going beyond this time together right now.
Mhm.
We could go on for days and we could do a whole weekend or together.
Yeah.
Jack, I know you wanted to share a link. I wondered, instead of me looking on my phone, is it a couple of minutes, the link?
Yeah, but actually, I could send it to you in your email, and then we could.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Just out of respect for you for finding it and without rushing and viewing it. I just want to make sure
Yeah.
appropriately. I really, really want to thank you. I know that we could go on longer, and this subject matter, Gemma, we'll be looking for you for festivals in the summertime for sure.
Yeah.
Or workshopping together. We could workshop as well, right? Um, but if somebody wanted to reach out to you, Gemma, how could they find you?
Um, they can find me on LinkedIn, JAC_architecture. I also can be found on LinkedIn, Jemma Chapman, Gemma spelt with a J. And yeah, that's probably the best two ways to find me. I also have another Instagram profile for an art project I'm doing that's called Toonie Stamps, which is TOONIE stamps. And I'm pretty active on that and I will respond. And that's just an art project that I've been documenting my time here in Canada. Those are the best platforms to get me on.
Yeah. And but maybe in a sentence or two, the Toonie stamps are
2D stamps, they are basically, I started documenting my time here through a series of small illustrative stamps that highlight all the wonderful things about Toronto that I found since I moved. So I think when you move somewhere, you get perspective. And so all the lovely buildings, all the lovely places to eat, all the wonderful things about the city, I started to document mainly for myself. And then I started showing people, and they were like, you should put these on the internet. And I did. And now I started telling the stories behind the stamp. So it's kind of a love letter to Toronto. They're kind of small
Mm.
prints this size. I'm actually starting to sell some in a shop, which I'm announcing soon. But yeah, it's a cool little, it's like a fun project, a fully creative outlet that kind of I just people who are interested and are engaged with the content that I produce and the stories that I tell, if it resonates with them, then I'd love for them to come along. But yeah, just a fun little side project to keep the creativity and my fingers moving.
neat. That is so cool. And I did check it out, Gemma, so it's well worth checking out, everyone. So, and be sure to follow. Well, actually, afterwards, we'll put in the text where someone can reach you if they wanted to reach out, maybe follow you on your social media as well. And same for yourself. So, Mariella, if someone wanted to reach out to you for you as an individual singer, but also a band
Mhm.
or whichever, how would they do that?
So my personal Instagram is Mariella_Larose 16. There you would find a link to my band, but if you don't, then it's Complex the Band. So
And very cool collective as well. And
Mhm.
thank you for sharing that. And
Yeah.
Jack, as far as you become president of community living, as you had mentioned in your, and I wonder if somebody wanted to reach out to you, what would be the best way?
It would be the Team Living Ontario.
Community Living Ontario, doing amazing work as well. And for those of you that are, I don't know, Jack has been a guest for us in the past, but he's also supports our guest speakers as well. So thank you for jumping in, Jack. Really appreciate
Mhm.
it. 1,000 thank yous to you, Jemma and Mariella and Jack. And thank you for those that listen and tune into our programs. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on social media. And we really, truly want to thank Youth for Change Canada for allowing us to be here on this safe platform to engage, connect, create, and inspire. And I think that's what we've done here today. Thank you for the chill conversation. Much appreciated. My name is Lynne McIntee, and we're signing off now. So thank you so much, everyone.
Bye. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.